Well, good morning. This is the Rare Report. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to be with Mrs. Leah Lundy, who is the principal of the Melrose Elementary School, Melrose, Florida. I want to say that prior to this session that I came to an event a week and a half ago. Several of the grandchildren were being recognized at the Melrose Elementary School. And Mrs. Lundy was the person who presented the students to the audience in an auditorium the other day. And I became immediately aware that you were such tender-hearted, and
thank you.
You're caring for the students, and for you to make time to recognize those students really made a great impression. So when I got home after that session, I went to the internet and Googled and realized that this person to my right has been recognized as the principal of the year in Putnam County for 2025.
Yes, last year, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I wasn't surprised once I saw that you've been recognized, and it must be in some ways rewarding to have that recognition.
Absolutely. It's, well, one, it was a shock. I had no clue it was coming. And then it's just nice. It was a nice recognition for myself, but it's such a representation of all of my faculty and staff at Melrose. I think because of them helped to put me in that position to be principal of the year, as well as our students.
Exactly. I mean, it takes, they always say it takes like an army, right?
It does. A village, for sure.
A village. Tell us a little bit about where'd you grow up?
Okay.
And then when did you, or what was the circumstance that caused you to want to become a teacher?
Right. Well, I am a Navy child. My dad was in the Navy. He retired when I was 5 years old, and we moved back to his hometown, Rayford, North Carolina. So I spent my whole childhood in North Carolina. I've always wanted to be a teacher from probably the time I was 6 or 7. I used to have my neighbors come over and I would be the teacher and I would give them homework. Of course, like all young people, I went through some changes when I was going to college. Maybe I'll do something different. I was involved in 4-H and had lots of great leaders through 4-H and lots of great teachers through school. And it was just something I knew that I wanted to work with children my whole life.
And did you go to college in North Carolina?
I did. I actually graduated from, it's now called Barton College, with a degree in hearing impaired education. My goal originally was to work with hearing impaired children. Most of my internships were at the School for the Deaf in North Carolina. And then upon moving to Florida, I had to find a teaching job, and I started teaching at Interlochen High School. And most of my career has been spent in Interlochen until these last few years when I've been out in Melrose.
And you've been here in Melrose for
About 9 years.
9 years? Yes. Could you tell the difference in terms of students? Did you always teach elementary at the elementary level?
No, I actually taught at the high school level and became an administrator. Well, then I moved to a dean position in Florida. We have deans that you deal with the discipline. I feel like that was probably one of my biggest learning experiences because you deal a lot not just with the students but also with parents and administrators. So I learned a lot in that role, and then I became an assistant principal. And then I moved to, I think how my route went, to Interlochen Elementary, which is now called Jenkins Elementary. And I was there for about 6 years. And then I moved to Price Middle School, which was also in Interlochen, and did middle school for about 8 years. Now, middle school was a tough place. I loved it, but it was one of the hardest places. I think students at that age are starting to get freedom. Parents are giving them some freedom. They're learning who they are, lots of hormones. So middle school can be a tough place. And then I was moved out to Melrose.
What did the COVID era have impact your teaching or the students?
Right. What we saw with COVID, well, fortunately for us in Florida, we didn't stay out of school for a super long time, so that was a blessing. But I think what happened was kids got away from structure. You know, they had a lot of freedom at home. They weren't doing daily work with schoolwork. And so students that were already in school, they probably didn't lose quite as much as those younger kids who missed that gap of school and missed some of those base skills. So that was the piece we've seen as kids came back from COVID, was just missing some of those foundational skills that they may have gotten if they would have been in school the whole time.
And today, in terms of the structure of a given school day, how has that changed from the past, or has it?
Right. Well, technology is much more involved in schools than probably when I first began. Almost every student at schools has access to a Chromebook every day. So some of the work that they do, at elementary it's probably not as involved as secondary. At elementary they're doing more programs on a computer. They may do some reading programs, some math programs, some intervention work on a computer. But I would say that's probably been one of the biggest changes over my career.
Are the children allowed to bring iPhones and things to school?
Students can bring them to school, but they have to have them turned off.
Okay.
Most of our students don't bring computers because we provide, every classroom has a computer for every student, a Chromebook. But they have to have their phones put up while they're at school.
Sounds like a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Can you think of some aha moments in your teaching career that perhaps stand out in terms of feeling that your interaction with a student made a difference in their lives?
I think sometimes the things where the impacts are sometimes when you don't know you're making an impact. I can think of a time when I was at the middle school. I mean, I can think of lots of times, but at the middle school, and we had a student who his behavior was really off, but it was out of character for him, and just realizing that more was going on with him, and instead of just looking at the behavior and for him to be in trouble, it was more of looking at what was going on with him, and come to find out they had no food in the home. He clearly was the one who did all the cooking, because when we asked him for a grocery list, he knew really specific things. But just after the fact, with that student getting a note, and I still have it somewhere, you know, just thanking us because we paid attention that there was more to it. So the moments like that, I think, are the moments that impact me a lot. I mean, seeing the kids every day getting out of the car and getting hugs and talking to them and hearing about what's going on at home is a huge part. Academics is really why we're here, and it's important, but the relationships we have with kids is the priceless part.
The bonding that you do
Absolutely.
on a daily basis, I think, could be so impactful.
It is, and it's, you know, we don't know. You know, they say you never know when you touch a life, and you don't know, and you may not know till years later. Maybe a student calls you back and says thanks for something you did for them over the years, or just little things during the daytime, or when you see students like the person who's here videoing today that has, you know, gone on and made a career, and they took all the things they learned and they've become successful. I mean, there's nothing like that.
Can you share your philosophy?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Well, I'd say, yeah, it's impromptu here. Right?
It is.
But you seem to have that background in love for what you do.
I do love what I do. I think remembering that it's not one person, it's a lot of people who are involved, and I think really being aware of the students and their needs. And I mean, we all go to school and we learn a lot of things, and it's important stuff, but until you get here and you're with the kids. But I believe every child can learn, which is very cliche. Everyone says that all the time, but I do think that. But I think that every child and every student learns different, and I think those relationships, when you learn about your students and you learn their families, and we're lucky, we're a small school, so we know all of our families for the most part, knowing what's going on and being able to work with families and students makes a big difference. And I think just having a heart, all educators, and I think the majority of educators do have that heart and want to help students and want to do what's best for them and help them be successful.
What would you say to someone will be looking at this interview on a computer, and they may want to be a teacher? What would your words of wisdom be for individuals who want to become a teacher like you?
Right. Well, I would say don't be scared off by all the things you hear about education. I feel like education sometimes now gets a bad rap. I think people get nervous because of the things they hear about education. I would say come to it. If you love children, if you don't care for children, probably not the field you should go into. But if you love children, go and do it and get your feet in. I mean, come volunteer at a school and see. It is one of the best careers ever.
Can you think of something that recently made your day here at school?
Well, let me think. Oh, there's always things that make my day. Sometimes we have students who are super shy and don't like to talk to us or speak in the mornings when we say good morning, but then when you catch them in a classroom and they start talking to you, but normally they won't speak to you, that's always a big thing. Seeing students reach some of those goals, or maybe a kid who's struggling who doesn't typically make good grades but gets a great grade, that's always a great thing when they want to come and share it with us.
Any other words of wisdom, perhaps, Mrs. Lundy?
I just say, and I tell kids, do the right thing, be honest, be kind. It's not hard to be a great human being, and that's what we want our students to be, is great human beings, no matter where they land.
Well, the students that you have with you, that you're mentoring, they're going to be so grateful for your presence in their lives.
Oh, well, thank you. I hope so. I'm grateful for their presence.
No wonder that you're the teacher, our principal of the year. So, Mrs. Lundy, since you are a gift to all the students and staff and your community, I wanted to give you this.
Oh, well, thank you.
And when
I might need that tomorrow.
You're a coach.
I am a coach.
You're a coach, and a very loving coach, I can see.
Oh, well, thank you.
And the words stroke, stroke, kick, kick deals with talks about a poem about two frogs, and the important thing is one of the frogs didn't give up. They just persisted. They just kicked and swam with with their legs, and where they were at, that frog was at, that with the just doing something,
right,
that that frog jumped out of the can of cream via butter. And the idea is you just, no matter what, persistence,
right,
and you just put your effort into everything that you do. So stroke, stroke, kick, kick.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for considering me for your podcast.
It's so deserving that
Oh,
so.
thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.